everyone. Welcome to our next class. We're going to learn about some belt weaving with Christy and Alec. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to them, and I'm excited to see what they have for us tonight.
All right. I'm Christy, and this is my husband-to-be, Alex.
Hi.
My sister was supposed to be here helping me tonight, but she couldn't make it. So he's standing in, and I'm going to teach him how to weave while I teach you guys how to weave. So first, we're going to cover some basic history and things about weaving, and then I'll actually get into the demonstration. So I'm going to share my screen.
And just as a quick note, while Christy is setting up her screen, please make sure that you remain muted. If you have any questions on monitoring the chat, feel free to type them there and I will relay them.
There we go. Okay, that's not the one I wanted first. Oh, I've never done this before, bear with me. That's the one I wanted. Okay, so introduction to belt weaving. Let's see here. All right, there are quite a few looms out there. There are as many looms as there are weavers. You gotta kind of play around and find out which one works best for you. Yeah, this number one is the backstrap loom. That one is, you don't need a whole lot for it. All you need is a sturdy place to tie your warp to and stretch it to yourself. And if you're doing card weaving, then you use cards. If you're doing like Heddle weaving, then you need a Heddle, and I'll show you what a Heddle is in a few minutes. Number two is the ankle loom. The ankle loom is what we're going to be focusing on tonight. You can use the ankle loom to do tablet weaving or pick up Heddle weaving, but it's really easiest just to do ankle weaving, which is just moving the shuttles up and down, and you'll see a demonstration of that here in a little bit. I find the ankle loom a little difficult to do tablet weaving with because it's really hard to find the right tension, and sometimes when you're doing tablet weaving, as you flip the cards, you form a twist. If there's interest in it in another class, I can do a demonstration on that and show you what I mean, or you can go on YouTube and there are tons of tutorials and tons of people who make videos on doing tablet weaving, and they talk about the twists in the cards. So yeah, if anyone's interested in seeing that, we can do another class for it. Number three is a type of rigid Heddle loom. Rigid Heddles are the thing in the center where the string passes through, this part here. That's a rigid Heddle. They have dashes and dots in for the string to go through, and that controls the shed, the shed where you pass your warp through. Number four is a type of Heddle floor loom. They're very big. They take up a lot of space, but you can do wider projects like tablecloths and shawls and things like that. Number five is a picture of a historic loom from the Viking Age that was found on the Osberg find. It's pretty much just two poles stood up opposite each other with a bar stretched in the middle, and your warp is wound around the two standing up straight poles, and that's what you do your weaving on. You sit next to it and you weave like that. That was primarily used for tablet weaving, but I imagine if you really wanted to, you could use it for pickup weaving too. It's just a different way of doing it. Number 6 is a warp weighted loom. That is done, your tension is kept by heavy weights tied onto your warp at the bottom, and you do your weaving at the top and you work your way down. I really want to try one of those, but it's hard to find the right kind of weights for it. Some people use pennies for that kind of thing. Some people use bolts or kumihimo weights. I haven't tried it yet, but I really want to. Yeah, like I said, there are a lot of looms to pick from. Choosing one comes down to your budget and the space you have to accommodate a loom. The basic principles are the same for all of them. Threads are strung onto the loom or around the loom, called warping. Sheds are created by manipulating the threads up and down. And a string called the weft is passed through the sheds to create a weave. It can be done by using tablets, also referred to as cards, rigid heddles, or string heddles. It's all up to you on the look that you want to achieve. I've done everything. I've done the string heddle, and I've worked with cards. You're going to see my cat. Sorry. Come here, baby. But yeah, it's you can use just about anything for string heddles as long as it can be tied in a knot. Tablets for tablet weaving, they come in all shapes and sizes and materials. I use playing cards for mine because I haven't gotten other cards yet. They don't last very long, but they work just as good when you're starting out. All right. Once you've decided on the loom that you want to use or try out, and you choose a method that you want to weave with, you have to start thinking about a shuttle. A lot of looms come with shuttles. Mine came with this one. And there's different styles too. There's a lot of styles. But it's just what you feel comfortable using. Some people use both a shuttle and something called a sword, which does not have any way to wrap the weft around it. It's just a pointed piece of wood or something that they can use to pick up the threads if they're doing pickup weaving or something like that. Some shuttles are best suited for specific types of looms. Like the larger shuttles with the spools or rods down the center are more suited to the larger pedal-operated looms, like the cleric we saw in the first slide, the large floor loom. They're also good for large tapestry looms. They're known as boat shuttles. Some have tapered edges like mine does. The front edge is a lot thinner than the back edge. And that's so that when you pass it through your shuttle, you can use, I don't know if it shows up. You can use this blunt tapered edge to get your weft down into the shed really well. That will help with neatness, and it'll help your design evolve as you go along. We talked about the shed swords. Okay. So yeah, it just comes down to trying them out and seeing what you like. Seeing what works best for you. Some are really, really tiny. You can get really, really small shuttles, and you can get really, really big shuttles. I like the one that I got with mine. It's a good size to work with. Some have this, I don't know if it'll show up either. There's a ridge here for you to wrap your string in. I've tried just wrapping it around that part and it unravels very quickly. So I do a figure 8, like on the top here. yeah, so that's all about shuttles, and they're shuttles. They're made of wood. You can get plastic ones, you can get bone ones, you can get all sorts of ones. It just depends on what you like. All right, so we talked about looms, we've talked about shuttles. So what can you use to warp your loom? You can use just about any kind of string. You have to keep in mind though that some yarns and some strings stretch more than others. Acrylic yarn that you use for like crochet and knitting, that tends to have a stretch to it because it's a synthetic fiber. You can get all sorts of threads and stuff, anything from linen to silk to cotton. As long as it doesn't stretch too much, you'll be okay using it. I tend to go for Aunt Lydia's crochet thread, just because it's readily available and it doesn't cost a lot. When you're first starting out, if you go this route, you will be spending a lot of money and you're going to feel like you're wasting it. But I promise you, it does get better. I think spending the $3 or $4 per skein of this is a lot better than spending $15, $16 on a cone of actual weaving thread when you're just trying to figure out if you like the craft, trying to figure out the ins and outs. There is a really large learning curve. And it just makes it so much easier if you have something that's readily available and not as hard hitting on your pocket if you decide that you don't like it after trying it a few times. But yeah, it all comes down to trying different yarns, trying different threads, seeing what works for you, seeing what doesn't, and then just figuring out your way from there. So far, I've done quite a few card weaving bands with this crochet thread, and I've had fantastic results. When this is over, I have some nearby if anybody wants to see them when this is over, to give you an idea of what they look like. And we'll show you what the band is going to look like that we have worked up on my ankle loom right now too. So yeah, before we get on to the demonstration, I'm going to see if anybody has any questions. And I think that was the end of the slide. Yes, that was the end of the slide. So if anybody has any questions, I don't know how to get out of it. Hey, I got out of it. Cool. Anybody have any questions?
It doesn't look like we have any questions up on the chat.
Okay, awesome. All right. So we're going to talk about the ankle loom now. Let me find the pattern. There it is. Okay, so when you set up your ankle loom, when you find a pattern, there are tons of resources online to find patterns for your loom. I think this is one of the easiest styles to start out with. It's not very complicated. It's just moving the sheds up and down, and just putting the warp through the weft, or the weft through the warp. That's it. There's nothing complicated. There's no counting, nothing to really keep track of. It's just up and down and pass it through. When you decide on a pattern, they're written different ways. I've worked some patterns where it has the first thread as unheddled versus heddled, and vice versa. Your pattern will tell you which one you're starting off on. And I used, for this band, I used a pattern I found on aspinnerweaver.blogspot.com. It's a pattern for a simple 2-color band. And you can, there's so many different options out there for different styles and lots of color combinations and multiple colors in one band. I've seen some really awesome bands out there with like 5, 6, 7 different colors in them. They turn out really neat looking. But for today, for the purposes of keeping it simple, we're going to do a 2-color pattern. And right away it tells you that the top row will be heddled threads and the bottom will be open threads. So we're going to go down here. I'll show you which one I picked. I picked this one, and this one turns out really neat, as you can see in that picture. So I'm going to come back here for a second. I can figure out how to. Oh, that didn't work. How do I stop sharing?
Stop sharing is up there.
Oh, Okay. Sorry, I'm not used to doing this. Okay, so for the purposes of showing you guys, that's really close. Great. For the purposes of showing you guys what we're doing, don't mind my messy cracker, I am going to show Alex how to measure a heddle and how to tie one on. So I'm going to move back our bands. This one is already strung up earlier today. So I'm going to move it back a little bit so he has room to work. Okay. So when you do a heddle string, there are usually 2 pegs that you use to measure your heddle on your loom. And they're usually one right under the other. So this one would be one of our heddle pegs, and we measure up to the one on top of it. So we take some, you don't need any particular kind of string. It can be anything as long as it's pretty strong and it won't break. Like, see, this is like, I really got to pull on that to break it. It won't break very easily under pressure. So what you do is you take your string and you just measure it from the bottom peg to the top and you form a knot. If you decide to use crochet thread like I am doing, you may have to retie it after you measure it out and take it off. I found out this morning when I was making mine that the knot would slip. And if the knot slips while after you've had everything strung up and you're working, from personal experience, it's a pain in the butt to have to figure out which string you need to retie. So that's just my advice. All right. So do you want to try?
Okay.
Okay. So here we just
Oh, crap. For those of you wondering, I have never done this before. Well, I mean, I've done square knots, but.
Yeah, he knows nothing about looming, so or weaving.
I did basket weaving in Boy Scouts.
Well, that's a different.
Is this tight enough?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how tight you make it. It just has to be about that size. Okay, so we've got petals, and it just ends up looking like a big loop. Let's see if it's. You can tell if it's going to hold or not if you take where the knot is and you pull it apart. And like that didn't hold, so we got to go back and put a slip knot.
Or are you doing that now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And now it shouldn't come apart while you're weaving. It should be pretty good. Okay, so we have our heddle. And I don't know which one's going to show up better on. Probably the white, maybe. We'll find out. Purple. Okay, so when you start out, you're going to go, for this particular pattern, you're going to go up and over this top bar to create your Heddle string. And on the next pass, you're just going to go straight up underneath it, and that will help create the shed while you weave. That's where you're going to pass your weft through. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do it, and then I'm going to have you do it.
Okay.
There is a little screw on the end of my loom. I generally don't really use that. It's supposed to be there to tie your strings onto. I just think it's a pain in the butt and it gets in the way. So I just generally hold it with one hand and take it up and down and around. You can do shorter warps if you want, but you have to make sure that you at least hit your tension rod. Mine happens to be right here. Some are all the way up at the top. Some are back further. Some are square. Some are huge. It depends on the kind of loom, but I have an Ashford and this is what mine looks like. So mine is right here and you have to make sure you at least hit that. Otherwise you won't be able to advance your warp as your weave gets higher on the loom. So now that we've done that, we can either keep going and just kind of like tie these two together so it doesn't fall off, and then put our Heddle on and do an unheddled, which I think that's what we're going to do. So just to keep this from not going anywhere, I can get a hold of the string. Where'd it go? I'm going to tie it into a knot. It doesn't have to be terribly tight, but just tight enough so it doesn't go flying off. You want it kind of drum tight, but not like hearing the wood on your loom creak as you pull on it tight. You can end up breaking your loom if you do that. All right, so what did I do with that Heddle? There it is. All right, now to attach your Heddle to the string, you just take it and you kind of drape it around. I like putting the knots at the bottom, that way they're not in the way while I'm weaving. So it forms like a U. You've got 2 strings here and 2 strings here and a loop down here at your finger. And you slide that loop onto the peg. And that creates your Heddle.
I learned a thing.
You learned a thing. Okay, do you want to try?
Okay. Which way am I going?
You can probably do it from there. Can you do it from there?
No, am I going around this peg or skipping this peg?
Well, let me cut that. I don't mind wasting this so he can learn. So we're going to cut that.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So where am I?
Okay, you want to start here?
Okay, with this one?
Yep, you can use that one. You can use a white one. I can find blue if you want. I've got plenty of colors. You need to turn it.
Yeah, where do I?
Okay. So yeah, so from this one, you come down underneath that one around the tension rod. And then up. Yeah, just like that.
Oh shit, oh shit. I'm vulgar, I apologize. I imagine all of you as craft people are also.
Yeah, awesome. Good job.
Oh shit.
And you, okay, you don't have to pull it really tight. Looks like you're pulling really, really tight.
I wanted to make sure I actually got it and didn't fall off like it's about to.
Well, that's okay. After you have it on there, you tie your knot. If you're underneath the, yeah, and sometimes your string will go underneath the feet on your loom, but it doesn't really affect anything too much. You just gotta pay attention to it. Okay, that's entirely too loose. Okay, you tightened it up again. All right. Now, if you end up with like he did, his string is pretty close to the front. When you get done, all you have to do is push it back. And that will keep it from sliding off. And you may notice I have rubber bands on mine. I have a habit of, I don't know what happens when I'm weaving, but everything kind of shifts down this way. So in order to keep everything from falling off when I advance and when I'm weaving itself, I put rubber bands on to stop. And they work pretty good. If you find you have that problem, try rubber bands and see how it goes. Okay, so now it's time to put on your heddle. No, I don't need to cut it. Go ahead.
No. That will destroy you.
All right. And he just held his first work. Okay. So from there, we can go on to the unheddled, which just goes straight up there. And then
Did you skip this one or did you?
No.
skip- Oh.
no, that's the heddle peg. You don't wrap anything around that
Oh,
because the strings sit on that.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then you bring it down to your tension rod, and then you just follow your pegs all the way around. Okay. I'm gonna let him do it.
Oh, God.
You're doing good.
Things gonna crash and burn in a minute.
It hasn't exploded yet. You're fine.
Okay. Wait, wait, this.
You
Okay.
missed one.
Oh, no.
You see? Yeah, you didn't take it up to this one.
It's on the heddle peg.
It's okay. If you see that, just move it off. Go up here. Okay.
But then it,
Nope, up to this one.
oh, we did that one already though.
Yeah, but you missed this one.
Okay. Totally know what I'm doing.
You're doing good.
Okay.
Okay. So now he has one heddled and one unheddled.
One hand.
And if he wanted to keep going, he would just follow his pattern and keep going heddled, unheddled, heddled, unheddled, heddled, unheddled. So now that he's done that, let's show you how to change colors, or how I discovered how to change colors this morning. Okay, so we want to switch to white. What I did this morning, normally I've seen people just tie it off and keep going. That can be a pain in the butt if you've got two balls of yarn rolling around on the floor. So what I did this morning was I did use this little screw up here to anchor one of the strings. And then I got my other string. And I warped it up like I did before, going up over the top for the first one.
You want me to hold it again?
Got it.
Okay.
And then you just warp like regular. And then you tie that one off.
You want me to go calm them down real quick?
No, it's fine. They're
Alright.
fine. They're not breaking anything. And then we put on. Inky, did you eat it? Okay. If you run out of Heddles, like I think I did, I don't know what happened to the one that I made earlier. You can just, while you're warping, measure out another Heddle strength. Not a big deal. There's no real disasters in this. Making the knot. Then just do that. And it's over. Okay, so say we warped up one white one, and the next one has to be purple. What I would do then is keep in mind where the purple and the white are in relation to each other. That way you don't get a whole bunch of twisting and knotting in the threads. And I kind of move them out of the way of each other and take the first color and just, it's rolling around on the floor. And then just warp up like normal. We're doing an unheddled now. And then just take it to the end and tie it off or keep going. Okay, so now that I've shown you how to do that, we're going to take these off and we're going to show you how to work the band that I have on there now.
The magic of editing.
Yeah, they're going to get knotted now. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. So now, we are back to the band that we started with. And I will show him and teach you guys how to do this. All right. So it's going to be a really awkward angle to show you guys, but I don't really have a better one. All right. The purpose of the heddles and the unheddled ones are to help you create sheds. That is this part here where your weft, which is wound on your shuttle, will go through. So if you lift it up, you've got a shed. If you push it down, you've got a shed there. Doesn't really matter, I don't think, which way you start, as long as you're consistent. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not sure if it really matters or not. So we are going to start in the up position. So what you want to do if you start in the up position is lift your unheddled threads to the top. To hold your shed open, you can slip your hand in and kind of clear your shed. Really? Sorry. And clear your shed to create space for your weft. I like to kind of weave my ends in as I start.
Does the color matter?
It kind of does. I try to keep the color on my shuttle the same color as my borders. So I have purple on the outsides, which would make the color on my shuttle purple. I've done instances of weaving where I found I needed the background color instead of the border color, because the border color was showing up too much in, or the matching color was showing too much in the weave, and it just looked really sloppy. So it's something to play around with, but for the most part, you're gonna want your shuttle, your weft yarn to match your border colors. It just looks neater. Okay, so to start, you pass your weft through your warp, and I like to leave a long-ish tail because you can weave it in as you go. When you start, don't go all the way down to your first peg because it makes it hard to weave. I like to start maybe 2 fingers width from the peg. And then you pass your weft through, you've got your long tail. We started it up. You can tell if you need to go down or up when you lift or push down. If you run your hand down your shed and you find that you're touching the weft that you just passed through, you want to go the opposite way. So with it up, I can feel that weft that I just put through there, so I want to push down. And that creates another shed trapping that weft inside the first one. So we're going to pass our weft through again. Leave a little bit of a loop on the end. This is going to help with keeping your edges even. And then before you move your warp again to create a different shed, you want to grab your tail from that first pass and pass it through. Also leave a little loop on this side because that's going to help when you tighten things up to get your band width. So we just went down, so we need to go up now. We're going up. You can beat gently on this pass, and this is when you can tighten up on both sides. So find your warp, your weft thread, and find your tail, and pull gently. It doesn't need to be too tight this time around. You're just kind of trying to pull everything together. Okay? And then before you pull your weft through onto the other side, pass your tail back through. Okay? And again, you want to leave a little bit of a loop on that side. And then the same with your warp thread. Leave a little bit of loop on this side. All right, so that was up. We're gonna go down this time. And the same thing. You're gonna put your shuttle in, beat it down, pull. You can pinch and pull on either side, which is really gonna help keep your edges even.
Do you want me to hold the camera over this?
Yeah, if you can. So you can see.
Where'd it go?
There we go. I don't really have very good angle here. Okay, so then we can pull through. See, loop here. Yep. And then same with the tail again. I usually put the tail through at least 3 or 4 times to make sure it's in there really good and that it's not going to fall apart once I take it off the loom. And then you push up, clear your shed, your shuttle, beat it down, and pinch your sides and pull through. And then pull your shuttle through. Now we don't need the tail anymore, so we can leave it hanging. You can cut it off close to the edge here, but be careful that you don't cut your shuttle thread. So I think we're going to do that just to get it out of the way. All right, so from here on in, it's pretty straightforward. It's just a series of ups and downs. So we did I don't remember. Okay, yeah, we did up last time, so we're gonna go down. So you clear your shed. Your warp and pull your weft. That's it. And just repeat. You would try?
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to hold it for him.
Wait, okay. So that was down, so I have to go up. Go through, do I beat it down now?
You can beat it down now.
No, right, okay.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay. Don't pull the. All right. Since you pulled it through, put it down. Pinch the side. And pull here. Pull close to the. Just like that. Good job. Okay. Yeah, that's why you want to. You're good. You're good.
I don't know which way I went. Oh, good, I went the right way. Okay. So go through this way. Beat it down like it owes me money. Do I pull this now?
Yep. Pull it now. Pinch the side.
Do I do that? So I pinch every time before I take it
You
out.
pinch every time before you take it out.
Okay.
It's going to help with keeping your sides even.
Okay, and I can pull this out now?
Yep, you can pull it out now. With inkle, you get your pattern fairly quickly, and it seems to be the quickest way to achieve a woven band, because there's very little counting involved. The most time consuming part of doing it, well, other than the actual band, is setting it up. It can take quite a few hours to get a loom strung up.
No crap. Wait.
So you're okay. You're okay.
Wait.
You're okay.
No, I'm half left.
Oh, yeah, there either. So
Which way? Okay, so I need to go down.
sorry for the really awkward angles. I don't really have the greatest camera for this.
Wait, I forgot to do the thing.
It's okay.
Okay. Leave that there. I didn't do the thing that time. Do I need
Yeah,
to undo
it shows. No, it's okay.
Okay.
This is a good example of why you need to beat down, because otherwise your threads are going to end up puckering and you're not going to get the nice even look that you're going for. I don't know how well that shows up, but it's right here, it's very uneven versus down here where he was doing the beating. So yeah, something to keep in mind, that if you're not conscious of it, it's going to end up looking a little funny.
I don't think I did that. Wait, oh crap! I pulled too tight.
No, it's okay. It's
Okay.
all right. That comes with time. Knowing how hard to pull it comes with time and experience and practice. And it can take you a whole band sometimes to figure out if you're pulling it too tightly or not. It's just one of those things. Especially when you're starting out, it can be a little hard to tell how hard you should be pulling it.
Pull. Haha. That's down, so I'm gonna go up.
Mhm.
Oh, I need to do the crap.
It's all right.
Who's a noob? I'm a noob.
You're doing great.
Who's a noob? I'm a noob.
Can we adjust the camera a little bit?
Oh,
There
I'm
we
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm holding it. I'm watching what he's doing, and it's sorry.
Okay, your turn.
Okay.
Are there any questions for Christy? And
Yeah,
cheers
well,
to
yeah.
Alec for being such a good sport with all this. Thank you for showing us.
Yes. And after a while, you start seeing the neat design develop. Like you can see the chain down here. It's starting to come through.
Do you have one with this completed pattern that you could show us?
I have part of one that I did earlier. I don't know if it's going to show up very well. It's a chain. Maybe I'll take a picture of it after the class and post it to the group for anyone that wants to see it. It turned out really neat looking. So yeah, I can do that for you guys and post a picture of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
When it's completely finished, what do you do to ensure that the ends will not unravel? Or does it just
Okay.
stay?
So there are a couple things that you can do. You can use zigzag stitch on a sewing machine and just take it right over the edge. Do a really fine zigzag stitch. You can use fray check. I learned a really neat trick for how to weave in the ends. I watched, I don't remember what her full name is. Elvis on YouTube. She does a lot of tablet weaving, and she has a video on how to finish ends. And one of her techniques involves weaving the ends in using spare threads. And I think that way is pretty awesome. There's no extra stuff needed except for string that you have laying around, and you only need about 4 or 5 pieces to do it. So if you want to check that out, you can probably see better on her video how to do that than I can show you here, because the camera angles are not she has a better setup than I do. So yeah.
Totally not first time YouTubers.
Any more questions?
Doesn't look like any more questions are popping up on the chat.
Okay. All right. If anyone has interest in another type of weaving or another class, I would be more than willing to do another class on it. I hope it has helped everyone.
I know I've enjoyed it.
Awesome. I'm so glad.
So if there are any other questions, feel free to post them and we'll send them over to Christy and we will figure it out from there. I know I found it very interesting. I've never tried any sort of belt weaving before. So thank you for leading that and teaching it. And thank you to Alec for being such a good sport. And I think, yes, and Christy for teaching it. And I think Alec is going to do our little sign off for YouTube. So Alec, take it away.
Do you have your sample things that you wanted to show?
Oh, does anybody want to see any of the sample bands that I've done?
Yes.
Okay. I think I know where to put them. I think they're in there. No, they're not. What did they do with them? They're in the bag next to it. Okay, so I do have some samples. I'm not sure what happened to my, oh, I know where that one is at. I think I know. Some samples of card weaving that I did on my loom.
This one, right?
Yeah, on this one. All right. This one, my sister and I, we did when we first discovered card weaving back in November, we made miniature Osberg looms. And this was the first pattern that I did on it. It's, I don't know if it's gonna show it very well. It's black and gold runes. And this one just happens to be double faced, which means that design shows up in reverse on the opposite side. The looms didn't work very well because we didn't really make them right. We were kind of guessing at what we were doing. So they kind of fell apart right away. But I mean, I've got a sample out of it that looks pretty cool. I can't wait to try this pattern again. This is one that I did on the loom. I don't know if it's going to show up very well.
Try pulling it back a little bit because we actually, I think, see it a little bit better, not as close to the camera.
It's supposed to be a braid, but the colors kind of get muddled together.
Black, blue, and or black, white, and gold.
Black, white, and gold, and it just didn't turn out very well. The next two are the same pattern, just different colors. This one is tablet weaving. So I like the look of the tablet weaving over the look of inkle or pickup weaving with the rigid heddle or the string heddles, because with the other two, when you're doing pickup weaving, the threads kind of lay on top of each other. And I like the look of it being like a flat design versus having bumps in it. And with, well, you can use multiple colors with doing inkle weaving. It doesn't really look as intricate as anything like this does. So I do prefer tablet weaving, but I have to find a way to make it work. It doesn't really work on my inkle loom because I like a tight tension. And I can't get that tight tension on my loom. I had pickup weaving around here somewhere, but I'm not sure where I put it. So once I find it, I can post a picture of that on the group forum too. But yeah, so I'll post a picture of the Heddle weaving and the pickup style too, so you guys can see the difference. Any other questions?
Doesn't look like it. So I'm going to say thank you once again to Christy. Thank you and good job to Alec. It was spectacular and I love seeing your samples. Maybe that's something that I'll pick up in the future when more sleep is a thing. And that said, if there are any other questions, feel free to reach out to really any of us on Sewing for Renaissance Festivals, because Christy's pretty active on there. I'm all over the place there. So just let us know. And Alec, take it away. Do the YouTuber thing.
Remember to like and subscribe and hit the notifications. We also have another recommended video here and something else here. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Till next time.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.